Recording in progress.
I want to welcome everybody here to February 1st Board of Adjustments meeting. It's 1:30. I would like to call the meeting to order. Madam Secretary, can we get a determination of quorum, please?
Rob Pierce.
Present.
Peter Gashan.
Present.
Kathy Julian.
Present.
Leo Horishny.
Present.
And Don Christensen did let us know he would be absent. We have a quorum.
Wonderful, thank you. If y'all would please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under
under
God,
God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Can we have the ethics law announcement, please?
Thank you. Board members are reminded that if with respect to any matter or any person coming before the board today, you've received a gift, a loan, you have a pecuniary interest or a commitment in a private capacity such as family, employment, business, or similar relationship, you must disclose that gift, loan, interest, or commitment at the time the matter is being considered. You must abstain from deliberation or voting on the matter if it's clear that the gift, loan, interest, or commitment would materially affect the independence of judgment of a reasonable person. Board members are also reminded that under the Board of Adjustment rules, if you have had any contact outside this meeting with any person interested in a matter coming before the board, you need to disclose the nature of that contact at this meeting. To provide public comment via Zoom, log into the Zoom webinar at the link on the agenda and utilize the raise hand feature during any public comment period. To provide public comment via telephone, press *9 to raise hand and *6 to mute unmute.
Thank you. Can we have the appeal procedure, please, Mr. Lloyd?
Yeah, most decisions rendered by the, let's see. I have the wrong one here. Give me 1 second. Parcel Map Review Committee. All right, most decisions rendered by the Board of Adjustment are appealable to the Board of County Commissioners. If you disagree with the decision of the Board of Adjustment and you want to appeal its action, you may do so in writing within 10 calendar days from the date the decision being appealed is reduced to writing, filed with the Secretary of the Board of Adjustment, and mailed to the original applicant in the proceeding being appealed in accordance with Washoe County Code. Please call the planning staff immediately at 328-6100 for information on the appeal procedure and the application fee.
Thank you. This time I'd like to open up general public comment. Do we have any general public comment?
I have no public comment in chambers.
And no hands raised via Zoom.
All right, we'll close public comment and open up item number 6, which is approval of February 1st agenda. Does anybody have a problem with it, or can I get a motion to accept as written?
I move that the February 1st agenda be approved as distributed.
Mr. Rob, I'll second it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that moves us to item number 7, approval of January 4th draft minutes. Everybody get a chance to look at that. Do we have any corrections? Can I get a motion to accept?
Peter Gashan, for the record, I'll move to approve the January 4, 2024 draft minutes.
This is Rob, I'll second it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, that moves us on to number 8, administrative permit, case number WAD-MIN 23-0018 for the Martin Garage. Mr. Lloyd, can you please announce it?
All right, for hearing, discussion, and possible action to approve an administrative permit for a 2,400 square foot detached accessory structure that is larger than the residence on the same parcel of land. The residence on the parcel is 1,676 square feet. Representing Washoe County in this matter is Planner Tim Evans.
Thank you, Tim Evans, planner. So the case before you today is administrative permit case number WADMIN 23-0018. Oops. All right. So this project is located at 11765 Overland Road. It has APN 080-384-02. The property is 1.049 acres, and the surrounding parcels around this parcel are developed in a similar manner with single-family dwellings and accessory structures. And this property is located in the North Valley's area plan, or with our current master plan, new master plan, of the North Valley's planning area. So the zoning there is low-density suburban. And the request before you today, pursuant to Washoe County Code Section 110.306.10D, an administrative permit is required for a detached accessory structure that is larger than the main structure. The request before you is for a 2,400 square foot garage, which is larger than the 1,676 square foot dwelling that exists on the property. As you can see on the screen, here's the site plan that was submitted with the administrative permit application. And it shows the proposed garage being located to the north of on the property. Here is a front and rear elevation of the proposed garage. Here's the side elevation. And as indicated on the site plan shown earlier, the structure is compliant with the required setbacks for the LDS zoning, which are 30 feet from the front and 12 feet from the side property lines, as well as the rear setback is 30 feet as well. The proposed garage will be has a height of 22 feet, which is compliant with the maximum height limit of the LDS zoning, which is 35 feet. And pursuant to Washoe County Code Section 110.306.10A2, the maximum lot coverage for all structures in this LDS zoning is 25% of the lot area, and the dwelling and proposed garage will not exceed that 25% that is allowed. And the proposed garage will be constructed of metal. Both the structure itself and the siding will be metal, as well as the roof. And a condition of approval serves to address the color of the garage, matching that of the existing dwelling. And the garage will not have any lighting and will not be connected to water or wastewater facilities. So the project was sent for review to 11 different agencies, and 2 agencies provided comments and conditions, which are included as conditions in Exhibit A of the staff report. 35 parcels were noticed for this project, and no public comments were received as a result of the noticing. Staff is able to make all 5 required findings as detailed on pages 10 and 11 in the staff report. And staff recommends the Board of Adjustment approve administrative permit case number W Admin 23-0018 and provides the following motion on the screen and in the staff report. And I am available for questions, as well as I believe the applicant's representative is in the audience as well.
Okay, thank you. Does the applicant wish to make a presentation? No. Okay, then I'd like to open it up for public comment. Do we have any public comment?
We have no public comment in chambers and no hands raised via Zoom.
All right, I'll bring it back to the board for discussion and a possible motion. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion. Kathy Julian, for the record, I move that after giving reasoned consideration to the information contained in the staff report and information received during the public hearing, the Board of Adjustment approve administrative permit case number WAD-MIN 23-0018 for Scott Martin, with the conditions included as Exhibit A to this matter, having made all 5 findings in accordance with Washoe County Development Code Section 110.808.25, consistency, improvement, site suitability, issuance not detrimental, and effect on a military installation.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I second.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. All right, that moves us on to item number 9, planning items, neighborhood meeting process. Mr. Lloyd, I guess you have a presentation for us.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For the record, Trevor Lloyd, Planning Manager with Planning and Building.
Can we turn up his microphone, please? Thank you.
I'll speak a little louder into it. Is that better?
Okay,
All right.
better.
All right. At our last board meeting, Board Member Julian asked if staff could provide a presentation on the neighborhood meeting process. I think it's very timely, as this is probably appropriate as we have new members on the board, and as a refresher for the other board members. So we established this process of neighborhood meeting about 3 years ago, and it was to take the place of the Citizen Advisory Board meetings. Prior to this process, all development items were being heard by the Citizen Advisory Boards. We were hearing a lot of issues were rising up at that time, and I wanted just to refresh the memory of some that may remember some of those issues. Not the least of which was the fact that we were having a hard time having a quorum at a lot of meetings. So a lot of meetings were being canceled. Also, a lot of meetings were not taking place on a regular monthly schedule. So there was no opportunity to gather feedback as these, so a lot of months when there were no CAB meetings, we simply couldn't take it out to a community event such as a CAB. And so we established this neighborhood meeting as a means of ensuring that each of these project items that required public involvement and public engagement had that opportunity. The other big improvement that we made was the scheduling of the neighborhood meetings prior to project submittal. This allowed for the public to be notified well in advance, and also to provide comments before an application submittal was presented before Washoe County. In a number of cases, this gave the applicants an opportunity to make slight changes, adjustments in the overall design, and to integrate the concerns that were raised by the community in their applications. We feel that that's actually been a real benefit. Not only that, we've had a number of projects that went before the neighborhood in a neighborhood meeting where the applicants decided it may not be a good time to bring this forward, and so we simply haven't brought it forward. What we find is that when an application has been submitted, there's been a good deal of money invested. It's too late to make changes or even pushback, so they move forward. That's what we were finding with the old system. The new system has really improved that process overall. So let me just walk through for you the 3 steps of the application or the pre-application meeting as well as the neighborhood meeting. The first step is that the applicants inquire through staff when they have an application that they want to submit. We schedule a sit-down pre-application meeting with the applicants, and at that time we determine whether or not a neighborhood meeting is appropriate. There are certain exceptions. Not all applications require a neighborhood meeting. So for example, if the request is for a variance, an accessory structure, maybe an accessory dwelling where the impacts are really limited to the site and maybe the immediate neighbor or neighbors, we don't feel it's appropriate to have a whole neighborhood meeting for those. So certain special use permits, certain administrative permits, abandonment applications, parcel maps, those types of applications do not require a neighborhood meeting. The larger special use permits, tentative maps, master plan and regulatory zone amendments, even the code amendments, those are the types of applications that we do ask for a neighborhood meeting to take place. So immediately following the pre-application meeting, we ask that the applicant provide staff with the notice. That notice is then vetted, and once it's determined appropriate, has all the applicable information to go out to the public, that's when we prepare a mailing list, and we ask that the applicants provide or send out the mailing based on the mailing list that that staff has given. The noticing requirement is identical to the noticing for the public hearing. The difference is the applicants provide the noticing or the mailing for the neighborhood meeting, and the county does the mailings for the public hearing. Also, at the time that we provide the mailing list, we also add the project to the neighborhood meeting hub site. That's the web page that lists all of the upcoming projects that are going to be having these neighborhood meetings. The second step is the neighborhood meeting. We have a list of different forms that we provide for the applicants, a sign-in sheet, as well as the comment sheet. We also ask that the applicants record the meeting. Now, some meetings take place on site or in a public venue, and others are held through Zoom. It really depends on, it's case by case, depends on the circumstances of the request. If it's a remote location, those are certainly better handled through Zoom. Also, weather may play a factor if it's going to be a winter type of event up an incline, for example. I think in those situations, Zooms are much more appropriate. Following the meeting, the applicant then uploads the audio. They also upload, prior to the meeting, they upload the documents, the site plans, graphics, elevations, and other applicable documentation for the benefit of the public. And then finally, after the neighborhood meeting takes place, the applicants submit the application. Now, we do require that the neighborhood meeting take place at a minimum of 10 days prior to application submittal. The application intake date is always the 8th of the month. If that's a weekend, it'll fall on the following workday. The information that's gathered through the neighborhood meeting hub site then is compiled and utilized by the staff in their staff report. The staff also listens to the audio of the meetings, takes notes, and includes a brief summary of the neighborhood meeting as part of the staff report. Also, the information that's gathered, maybe the comment cards, the sign-in sheets, and that information is also included in the packet that's delivered to the Board of Adjustment. On the overhead is the web page for the hub site. All right. If you go to the hub site, you'll see 3 icons on the bottom. You would click on the middle one, and that will bring up all of the list of projects. We keep that all of the projects up until immediately after the public hearing. So you would click on the left-hand side the project that you're interested in, and then in the middle lists all of the different documents that have been uploaded, so that the public has an opportunity to take a look at the graphics, take a look at the site plans, the meeting summary, as well as the audio if they want to go in and actually listen to the audio of the meeting. So in a nutshell, that is the process. I think it's worked very well. Again, it's not a perfect process. We're always looking for ways to improve it. The idea is to give the public as much opportunity to comment, to provide feedback, to review the projects beforehand, and then to get their comments heard by the different boards that are going to be reviewing the projects as they move forward. That concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer your questions if you have any.
Go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Kathy Julian, for the record, since I suggested the presentation. Thank you, that was very helpful. Will those slides be available to the public?
We can certainly make those slides available, yes.
Okay, great. A question on what the timing of what goes up on the hub and how long you keep it there. You said you take it down after the hearing. Is there any rationale for not leaving it up, I'm going to say longer, because sometimes these projects evolve over time and they come back and forth for different approvals. I could give the Waldorf Astoria project as an example of that. That will undoubtedly come back again to some institution for some further approvals.
If there is that. Hard to tell if that's on. It is on, right? Yes.
Yes, sir.
If a project is appealed, we will keep it on the hub site until after the appeal through the Board of County Commissioners. But we feel that after we take it down because the public process has been completed typically after the public hearing. And so we don't want to keep those up forever. And if we were to keep them indefinitely up, the list would just, it would be hard to wade through all the list of all of the projects. It would be very numerous.
Well, where would the community see a record, though, of that public meeting? Because if something had gone to the cabs, it would be memorialized in minutes. But I'm concerned that there might not be a record of the community meeting somewhere on the county website.
We do keep those archived. We archive all of the projects, including all of the documentation as well. They're just, really the intent is to provide the public with the upcoming hearings, the upcoming projects that are going to be going before the Planning Commission and the Board of Adjustment, and on appeal, the Board of County Commission. And so it's not, the intent is not, this is not to be a place to find all of the records of all the past projects that have come before this board. That's not the intent.
Okay, so going back, you wouldn't be able to see what comments had been made anywhere in the county, or
they would have
to do a Freedom of Information request?
You would have to come in and request information through a records request, yeah.
Okay. Okay, and then in terms of what goes into the staff report, because we have heard on occasion a member of the community may say more people were at the meeting than was reflected in the staff report, or where are the comment cards that were given during the developer-led meeting? Why aren't they in the staff report? Do we have any, or does the county have any way of following up on that to ensure that the lists of attendees, all the comment cards, and a link to the recording is actually in the staff report, so the public has that kind of access if they look at the staff report and they want all the records in one place?
Right. Well, again, we do forward all of the comment cards to the board. We also keep that audio up, and the staff does listen to the audio. We don't currently provide a link in the staff report to the audio, but that's something that we can certainly explore. I'm sorry, what was yours? You had another question too.
Well, I think the issue is I'm not clear we have seen all the comment cards coming out of the. Are they printed out and actually put into the report, or how is that displayed? We include all of that as part of the application submittal, and so it's really up to the applicants to submit the comment cards to Washoe County. We have not, again, most of the neighborhood meetings, staff is not present, so we're watching the video. Some of the more controversial ones, we will be present, but really we're passing along to you what the applicants have provided to staff. Okay, then what happens if the applicant does not provide the cards, but there were cards and there were comments submitted? And I think that's the feedback I've heard, at least on one occasion, from the community members and that's entirely possible if the county is not tracking for that. Is there any way we can track for that better?
Again, we're just gathering the information that the applicant gives us. You will hear it, certainly, and probably have, if there's a feeling that some of that information has not been included. But in terms of staff tracking it down, I'm not sure what the best method that would be for staff to ensure that all the comment cards are included. We really are relying on the applicants to provide us all the information from those meetings.
Okay, so it would be appropriate for one of us to ask the applicant during their presentation, were there any comment cards, and what did they say? And how have you adjusted, if at all, your project plan for that? Because after all, the point of this was to get some level of feedback to the design of the project at an early stage. And I'm just a little concerned that there may be a black hole here where it doesn't necessarily get recognized and
that's certainly a question that might be appropriate to ask. Also, there's a summary that we request of the applicant, a summary of that meeting that's included in your packet as well. I'm sure you've seen many of those. And I can't guarantee the applicant is going to make any changes. They may hear things and they may not make any of those changes. And you're going to hear that from the public. Again, I think the idea, I hear from folks saying they haven't been heard, and that's a very common statement that we hear when maybe the recommendation or the decision doesn't go their way. They'll feel like they haven't been heard. However, again, the responsibility of the staff is to make sure there is an avenue for them to provide comment, to testify, to engage in this process. And I think that this process, this neighborhood meeting process that we've established, is doing that very well.
Okay. Last point, I know in Incline Village, we have, every 2 weeks, we have a meeting at the library. It's a very informal meeting. The county sometimes comes, the sheriffs and the fire department come, they brief the community members who are on Zoom and present on things happening in the community. So it's a very informal setting. But the person who takes the minutes appears to do a pretty good job of recording everything in a written form. And I suspect she might be using some sort of AI, some sort of Google approach to recording that. Is that at all possible that we might ask the developers to use that kind of technology so there would be a written account of the 1 hour or less than 1 hour, because they usually only have 30 minutes of public comment. Is that a possibility? Has that been thought about at the county level?
It is a possibility. I know that Zoom has a very good feature where it actually transcribes the meeting. And so in those situations where a meeting is via Zoom, I think that certainly is plausible. I think it's going to be far more problematic when it's not a Zoom meeting, when it's an in-person meeting, and to ask that of an applicant is quite burdensome, to be honest with you, and costly. So it's not a perfect system, like I said. That is one of the benefits, and it's a big benefit of having the meetings at the cabs. But again, as I mentioned, there's a lot of drawbacks that we were seeing when the meetings were held at the cabs as well.
No, I'm not disputing at all the improvement of having information delivered at an earlier stage of the design. That's clear. And sometimes the cab meetings don't attract that many people. So that's a good point. I'm just concerned that there is a good record of what goes on in these meetings and that it is in a format that can be more readily shared with the broader community who may not have gone to those community meetings.
No.
But thank you very much. I appreciate the presentation.
Absolutely.
Sounds to me like the applicant is the one that has to keep track of comments and stuff like that, and so it's up to them to turn everything in.
It really is in their benefit to give all the information. Again, you're going to hear it from the public, and
Sure.
They don't want to get on the wrong side of the board. I promise you that.
Right, great.
Yeah.
Anybody else got anything?
Just a couple of quick questions now that I'm spinning around the website. How long did you say are projects maintained on the project list?
Well, it's gonna be different. We keep the projects up until after public hearing.
Okay.
Sometimes the neighborhood meeting takes place 6 months before submittal. And so it could be up there a long time. And some of them, you probably can tell, have been up there quite a while. And
is there any way that this could be updated to tell you when a public hearing is going to occur? I mean, would that be appropriate?
That is a good point. The problem is a lot of times we haven't even received an application yet.
Okay.
And so keeping track of that would be a constant, it would take a lot of staff time to update that on a weekly basis, probably, if we were to do that. What you find at the bottom, all of the upcoming meetings are listed. And if you scroll all the way down, and I don't know if we have, I think we have 2 of them, if
I
I'm
think
not
there's
mistaken.
one right now that's appearing.
So, and those do list, when the meetings take place and provide all of the, the meeting information, if it's on Zoom, where it's located, the place and time. Yeah.
Okay. That's all I had.
Okay. Do you have anything? All right. Fantastic presentation. Thank you, Mr. Lloyd.
Thank you.
All right, that brings us back to item number 10, chair and board items. Does anybody have anything for a future agenda item? Or request from staff? No? Do you have anything for us? No? Move on to 11A, report of previous Board of Adjustment items.
Okay, the big one, we had an appeal of the Pro Pony, that's the Silver Circle Ranch equestrian facility, that went to the Board of County Commission on the 16th of January. They did approve the appeal from the applicants, so they basically, they approved the project with a unanimous vote. The other item, and this is the big one, the master plan finally went through Regional Planning Commission, and that was the final step. So we now have an official new master plan. That's the Envision Washoe 2040 project. So big celebration for Washoe County. It's a big deal.
Let your staff know, thank you from us on all their hard work on that, too. They did a great
Thank
job.
you.
Legal information and updates? Nothing? Okay, let's open it up for the last general public comment. Do we have any public comment?
No public comment in chambers and no participants via Zoom.
All right, with that said, it's 2:01. We'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you.